Time for Tech Talk Show, where we answer questions about technology, explain the way they should work, and why they don't sometimes. Your host, John C. Morley.
Great to have wonderful fans and audience here. And of course, warm welcome to my wonderful co-host, Marcus Hart, who is here today. In the background.
Hey, how's it going, John?
And we do want to let you know, of course, of the brand new transformation to the Transform U Live broadcast systems that this is the last week that you're going to be able to watch these programs in full on platforms like YouTube, etc. We will not be streaming full to YouTube anymore, and also the program episodes will only be available for about 24 to 48 hours, and then you'll need to go to the new site. So that's what's happening starting next week. A lot of great stuff, a lot of good content, but lots of good short clips. So you'll be able to get those nuggets, because I know sometimes you can't listen to the entire show, but of course we value your feedback. So in technology, Marcus, have you been following Apple? What's going on with them?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely had a chance to, hear about the September event. It seems like they were doing some different things, rolling out a whole huge lineup of different events. Very interesting, very interesting. And any one of those particular products that caught your attention, John? I'm just
curious. What's catching me, which is kind of interesting, and this is kind of going back to something a few years ago. They're actually starting to go back to the watch again. They're going back to that watch. And now that's what they're putting all their energy in, Marcus, is coming out with a new watch. They're not working on a new iPhone 12 yet. They're saying that's going to happen in mid-October, but they're just trying to get more people on board with that. I think they're also going to be working on a new iPad and also a new iPad Air. So those are things they're working on. But the watch seems to be their biggest thing, and we're being told that they're going to have a separate event for the iPhone. So the one that they had the launch for on the watch is going to be completely separate. What do you think about that?
That's very interesting. I find that the watch one, especially one, is one that, I think Apple users are especially most excited about. It seems like we're kind of past due on some updates with the new watch. So it will be quite interesting to see what we're going to have with the latest. But I think what most Apple loyalty people, the people are really hardcore Apple users. So, and they're really hardcore for the Apple brand. They were expecting the iPhone 12. So why do you think they didn't say anything about the Apple 12?
I think the reason they didn't say anything about it is because, they're having problems with production, Marcus, if you've been following, COVID. I know we don't want to go back to that, but lots of issues with production. Have you noticed in the industry? I mean, I know not too long ago I ordered a camera, and I'm still waiting for my camera. They're having issues getting parts from China. Even though they don't make the phone there, they get parts there that are part of the assembly. And even just a few months ago, I ordered a dishwasher. I had to wait a month to get the dishwasher. Everything is becoming hard to get. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. We here in my particular family household, we were pretty hardcore about ordering stuff for a while online, and I remember just the atrocities we were having with backup orders, canceled orders, and I think some of that theme is still going on.
Yeah, and you know what? And they're trying to do this thing. I always call it the gasoline syndrome. I'm sure you know what I mean. Where they raise the prices on the supply and demand. It's nothing new, but they're trying to do that with technology, and they're trying to blame COVID for this. That they have to raise the price tag. I just don't think that's really fair.
No, it's not fair at all, John. But we talked about this before. We talked about like how a lot of stores have closed down, have started closing down, and then they try to blame it on COVID. But when in turn, we know that like when proper planning isn't made for these type of things to come up, we usually can blame it at the top, and not on something that is kind of we should be thinking
Yeah,
about.
not even related to the topic.
Yeah.
It's just like an excuse, really, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Poor excuse. So it's pretty
So
lame.
the iPhones, I know a lot of people are wanting to get the iPhone. They're saying the best budget phone of 2020 is going to basically be this phone that's going to be about $399. That's where it starts at. It's the 2020 version of the iPhone SE. They're saying it's the best budget phone that you can find right now with the A13 processor. It's just like the iPhone 11 and has that great stellar camera, but it's more powerful. It's more powerful than the iPhone SE, and they think that's going to stick. And a lot of the people that like the iPhone and were fans for many years ago appreciate the return. Touch ID is back. They said we were going to get rid of it, Marcus, but it looks like it's not going away, is it?
No, it's not. The iPhone is here to stay, and I think they're going to keep adding numbers and letters behind every one of their models. So.
I think you're right, and as much as people were against this whole thing with the touch, and now you have the eye. I mean, I still use the face recognition, but a lot of people don't like the face recognition, do they?
No, the face recognition. Me personally, it scares me. I'm still a little skeptical of why they want my face.
Well, they claim that when they store your face, this is what they claim, that they're actually not storing any of that data in the cloud, that it's all being used on the phone. I don't know if I believe them, okay? And that they're just using an algorithm from the cloud to be able to read it, but they're not actually sending your data. And when they store your face, they're actually picking so many points of your face. So they really can't tell a likelihood. And it's not enough points for them to be able to reproduce your face. So it's really not, I guess, as true as you would expect it to be. They're really just going on contours of your face. But in other news, the next phone is the Ultra Premium Android, the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. We talked about this before. And the counterpart was the Note 20. It's a little bit pricey, though. And it has the embedded S Pen stylus. It has the 5G technology. And it even has the Snapdragon 865 Plus processor. And it has the reverse wireless charging. So it comes with a few extra bells and whistles, 128 gigs or 512. And, this has been something that is catching a lot of people's eyes.
I think a lot of people are have been waiting for something like this. Actually, there's a bunch of different features, with this particular one that people are feel like they're kind of lacking in some of their current phones right now that they're carrying around. So, I think this might be one for people to watch out for.
But the big feature that's really, I guess, starting to turn a lot of eyes, and we mentioned it briefly, is the concept of reverse wireless charging. This is a little bit new. And I haven't really seen another device yet that has this technology. We've seen the ability so that you could do air charge and things like that, but we haven't seen this. So what exactly is reverse wireless charging? Well, reverse wireless charging, it transfers energy to the receiving device via electromagnetic induction. So it's the ability to turn the tables for a wireless charger-capable phone to act as a charging station and be used to charge another wireless device. So now we've heard about the pads and how they could charge. So now imagine your phone being like a conductor that can actually be, if you will, like a battery, but can charge another device wirelessly. I see a lot of market for that, Marcus, when we think about IoT, and they don't use a lot of power, but they always need to constantly be charged.
Yeah, and again, that's one of the things that people feel like they're lacking right now, and they feel like hey man, if somebody can just resolve that issue, because when you're out on a hot date or whatever,
Right.
the most embarrassing thing you want to be asking is like, hey, can I borrow your charger?
Yeah, so now you don't have to, what I say, we talk about contact, right? And they always say disease is spread by contact. So now there's going to be no contact, or it's going to be pretty close to no contact.
Right.
But I'll be honest, I don't know how well that's going to work out. I'm still not in love with wireless charging. I don't know about you. I don't like it. It's like 3 times slower than regular charging.
It is, they try to make you think that it's the most impressive thing in the world, but it's not that impressive because, like as you mentioned, the slow charge, it still takes quite some time, and what I do, it does hold quite a bit of charge, but again, we're sitting there, looking at our watches, wondering when we're gonna get to.
Well, we're waiting for the tea. We're waiting for the tea kettle to boil. I mean, I know I haven't boiled tea in a long time. I love drinking tea every morning, and I have one of those Insta Hots, and you just go there and it's 212 immediately. So it's like you don't have to wait anymore. But one thing I will tell you is that we have this constant need for using cell phones, other devices, and we need power, don't we? So you're at the office, you're at home, but what do you do when you have a computer that has like only a couple ports and you can't plug in more than one thing, or basically it kind of can't handle it? I mean, the power management on them is not really that great. So what do you do? Well, I have done a lot of research in this area, and there's a lot of junk out there. In fact, one of the shows, we're actually going to bring it on board because I like this device so much. It's a device that lets you charge different devices, and you can turn them on and off, and it's powered. So that means you can use it for a lot of great things. So I think that's something that we definitely want to share with our viewers. And I'm going to bring that on. We're actually doing an unboxing on one very soon. Been very, very pleased with it. I think that this is where technology is actually going. And you don't see this stuff every day in the store. Marcus?
Cool. Yeah.
And you can get it in smaller denominations. You don't have to get it. I think the one I have on my desk is a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a 9 charger. Okay, it even has I think several of them are actually USB, but it has the smart button so you can turn it on or off, which I think is like amazing. And it has a lot of power in it. And it still has the connectivity, because that's why a lot of your wireless devices, Marcus, they don't work. It's because you're draining the power of your computer. That's really the problem. So power is going to be an issue. So Motorola, well, before Motorola, we have the Android, the S20, and that's going to have the brilliant 6.2 beautiful display with the ultra smooth 120 hertz refresh rate on the screen. And again, the wireless charging, and it's water resistant, which means you can't put it under the water. After that, coming in is the Motorola Premium. It's the Motorola Edge Plus, and they say it has just about everything but the kitchen sink in it. It has the Premium 5G, the Snapdragon 865 chipset, a very giant battery, and the OLED screen with the high refresh rates. Motorola took features found on some of the top Android phones, and they put it in their own device, and they call it the Moto Spin. Kind of cool. And then they built them into one of their favorite Android phones of the year, called the Motorola Edge Plus. Nice. And that's going to be interesting. But they're really trying to just challenge these, the iPhones, and they're really trying to give these other phones, a run for their money. Google's now getting in the game, and they have the Google Pixel 4a. The only thing I don't like about the Google devices, Marcus, I'm not sure if you've seen this. Every time you buy a Google device or a Chromebook, you got to register the darn thing with Google.
Yeah, that's very disturbing to me, and they really box you in to their products, and I guess the whole intention behind that is to make you loyal to Google, so they're trying to.
You're 100% right. It's to
Yeah,
make you loyal, but it's a little more than that, Marcus.
yeah.
It's so they can grab marketing data on you and sell it to the big boys.
Even more sneaky. So yeah, so this is a little bit different than what Apple's doing then, huh?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Apple's been using their technology. Apple doesn't make you register that. Well, they do make you sign up for a device to sign in, but Apple is they have the Apple ID, but you can actually use your phone, without signing in the Apple. You can actually do that. Okay, in order to erase your phone, you have to sign out of your phone and stuff like that. But it's different than Google. You can't even use the device without having an Apple ID.
Yeah, and that's really the most irritating part of it. And someone brought their laptop over, and immediately when I opened it, and I noticed that it was a Chromebook, I said, "Dude, I can't do anything with this." So, uh,
Exactly, and you have to wonder what to do with that data. But speaking about Big Brother, and we talk about Big Brother from time to time, there was a very big conglomerate going on. I'm not sure if you're following with TikTok, and they were going to be shut down by order of President Trump because they were believing to be antitrust and sending information to overseas Chinese government and companies over there.
yes.
Well, good news. Oracle bought them out not too long ago.
Oh, that got to be very exciting. So a lot of people are dancing to a new tune now. They're not dancing.
I'm dancing to a new tune, but I'll tell you one thing I'm not dancing to. I don't really know what Oracle's going to do with the data. Now, we haven't really learned a lot about Oracle. We don't really know what they do with their data. They have the ability to collect a lot more data than Google because you have to realize their technology, Google didn't invent all their technology. They use Oracle and stuff like that. So I'm just a little concerned, Marcus, that they're going to use that data in the most, I don't want to say humane way, but in the most respectable manner. It's probably the best way to say it.
Yes. So we could be seeing Oracle doing some things that are pretty ethical. Is that
We could. They have provided a lot of Fortune 500 companies with their data, and I don't think Oracle's going to sell their soul to China or another country. But I am concerned. Oracle's always been about big dollars and big money and big companies. And if Oracle gets approached with the right offer, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they sell data to Facebook or whoever else they want to sell it to. So I'm not really in love with this company. I don't know where they're going, and I don't want to pass judgment, but I do have a reserve about them. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem. But, with September rolling around, Marcus, a lot of people are trying to get back to schools, right, or trying to have some sense of normalcy.
Yeah, so that's definitely been the idea for a lot of college kids, and then a lot of kids. My kids are already in session now, and laptops has been one of those things that we hear a lot. And although my kids have theirs issued, I'm still kind of like wondering, like, well, should I or should I not invest in a laptop, and where
Well,
would it
I
work?
guess the question comes down to this, Marcus. What are they using it for? Are they using it just for Zoom and to go online and to check email? I mean, they're not really going online to surf all day long or to stream videos.
Yeah,
So I guess you have to ask yourself, what are they using it for, right?
right.
So if you don't need a lot of power in a laptop, I mean, you can get by with some pretty inexpensive laptops. You're talking about laptops that are going to probably be under the $600 mark. They're not going to be anything to write home about, I got to be honest with you. With a basic AMD processor, an i3, or an i5, you're not getting a laptop that's under $1,000 if you're talking about an i7 or an i9. That just is not happening. But there's some decisions you have to make. Do you want to get a laptop that actually is cheaper and has a mechanical hard drive? Or do you want to get one with an SSD? Or do you want to get an SSD drive with a lower capacity? So these are some questions. And then you have to ask yourself, well, what size screen do you need? You know, and it is getting a screen, and what kind of battery life do you need? You know, are your people going to be on the go a lot? Can they plug it in? So there's some companies out there that have some good products. You know, for price points, I would say Acer and Asus have some good price point products. We already talked about the Chromebook. The Chromebook is not very expensive, but as I told you before, I just don't like the idea of buying a Chromebook. To me, I just feel that you're going to basically be locked into a certain world. And you know, you can buy an Acer Chromebook, for example, for under $300. But again, it is an Acer Chromebook, so that means it's trying into our good friends Google. But you're going to be able to walk away. You know, even Lenovo's getting into the game. Now, I love Lenovo. Anything that has Chromebook, you're going to basically get into that. The cheapest one that I saw, Marcus, was a Lenovo IdeaPad Chromebook, 11-inch screen, okay, for under $200, $199. So if you're not trying to, you know, reinvent the world, you're not trying to do programming, you're just trying to check some email, you know, maybe go online, not do anything crazy, you can get a laptop pretty reasonably. When I say a laptop, I really mean like a mini book, because they're nowhere near the type of power that someone would need for business, like crunching Excel sheets and things like that. But you know, you do have to make some decisions. And are you going to buy a book that is going to last you what I call a throwaway book, or are you going to get something that you want to get, you know, have last for a few years? I like Lenovo. I think Lenovo has one of the lowest break rates in the industry, but, you know, they're not the cheapest. Right. And with all these products, Marcus, you can buy something inexpensive, and you can buy something a lot more. There's some products out there that you can spend a lot more money on, but they have a better warranty, and you can also add warranties on them. But I have found that the products that are made, you know, well, they last. Everybody I talk to wants to buy a laptop for $300 or $400, but then they cry when it doesn't give them the speeds that they want. So you can't get both worlds,
No,
right?
it's impossible. Yeah.
It really is. So if you're going back to school, you're already in school, yes, you can get some of these great products, but I guess you just have to be honest with yourself. What are you really using it for? Because I'd hate to see you buy a product and now your student is doing some type of work that requires all the streaming or video editing. That's just not going to work on a Chromebook, Marcus.
No, it's not. Especially if you're looking to do some of the type of stuff I do, you know. So
Yeah, it's not going to work. I mean, you know how long it takes to render a file, right? Imagine doing that on an i3 process, an i5, not on i3.
Yeah, I probably would have just jumped out my own window after that, trying to do it.
You may not only want to jump out the window, you may want to like permanently knock your wall out.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, so when it boils down to it, you know, I think one of the biggest fear of any parent, you know, that's sending their kids to these back to school now, and they may be one of those parents that's against the fence, and they may say, well, you know, I may just wait it out a little bit longer, but then in the back of their head, they say, well, what if they raise the prices because everybody's buying them now? So should we worry about that? You know, just from
So you know, that's a great question. Just like what's going to happen with you know, with Windows, and they're saying the next version of Windows is not out yet, but it is always this chicken or egg game. Yeah. And I would say to you this, if you need a laptop today, you know, prices are always going to be changing, just like on wireless routers, and we'll talk about that on another show. There is always going to be a product that's more money. But here's how I want you to look at this. If you need to buy the latest and the greatest, maybe you're a feature guy or gal, and you just want that latest plush set of features that you probably don't even need, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to pay through the roof. You're going to pay 2 to 3 times more money for those features or for a processor that is actually not even in mainstream category yet.
Yeah, that's cool. I think the audience really appreciate that. John, I think hearing that really helps them a lot. And because just hearing that myself, it really brings me down to a more less anxious reason of way of thinking. So feeling a little bit better now. So thank
Right.
you, John.
My pleasure. And a perfect segue into this, Marcus, is when we talk about price tags, right?
Yes, we do.
You know that you can get a video card for maybe a nice video card, let's just say a video card, I don't know, maybe 2 gigs of RAM, a nice video card, even with maybe it's multi, it has the DP for DisplayPort on it, and it's a nice card. Now you can get a nice card like that for easily under $150, okay? Pretty easily. But what happens if you try to get something a little bit newer? Well, here's a perfect example. The GeForce RTX 3080, I'm sure nobody knows what I'm talking about. Well, this has been the hottest thing. This card right now, guys, is selling at, it's listing at $700, okay? That's what it's listing at. You can pick up this card, and there are places online that are trying to sell this card for even more money. Which I think is like, that's got to be insane. And the thing is, this card has pretty much, in case you wanted it, it's already sold out. So we got that whole process again. And the card is listing for about $700. Other people are trying to do extortion and try to sell it for $500 or $600 because they know that the card is nowhere to be found. But here's a funny thing. If you don't need the latest card, Marcus, you can get one that's just a few steps lower for $100 less. So to answer your question, if you want to keep buying the latest and greatest, you're never going to get a deal.
Right.
I tell our clients this every day. If you want a system with the latest specs and everything the way it's going to be, you're going to pay a lot of money. But if you don't need all those specs, then you're going to pay for something because it's in production more and the price has gone down and the supply has, the demand for it has basically not been too high and the supply is a lot higher than the demand need. What's happening with this card is that they priced it not too cheaply and people went crazy because of a couple of extra features. It's not phenomenally better, but it does have some things that make the card better. But is it worth an extra $200? I don't think so. What do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, I like that. It's like going to the car dealership and then you see the same exact car, and then they say, well, if you just pay maybe 20 more, you're going to a few bells and whistles that you can just customize yourself, for a little bit more.
Exactly, and and that's what it really comes down to. I mean, when they first came out with the lighted fans for PCs, they call them the RGB. The red, green, blue, and they can do all these different colors. You can have effects. They can change to music. They can beat to music. When they first came out, you were talking about something that was $500.
Yeah.
Now they're nowhere near that price tag because the supply has gone way up and the demand has gone way down. People can get them very easily, but if suddenly that company decided they wanted to roll out a new model, maybe there was one that instead of doing RGB, well, maybe this one had a extra light in or something, and that made it an extra $150 more with this extra strobe. Well, now they increase the price tag, they set a demand, and now it sells out, and then you got the same problem. So companies make products, Marcus, go obsolete intentionally. iRobot, you remember iRobot, right?
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
So iRobot actually has been around for a while. They make all kinds of different devices. Some things that'll take care of your lawn, they'll do your gutters. Well, iRobot recently came out with a technology for a robot that will actually have a smart emptying system, but it has no map technology to get around the room. Now, I don't know about you. Adding a technology that automatically empties the waste to the bin, but now it can't find its way home, doesn't that seem a little messed up?
Yeah, it does. What is the, did you get the price tag on this? Because, it seems like they may be compromising us on something here, if they can't even, if they can't perform in this way.
Yeah, the new one that they're coming out with. So they're trying to sell it as a kit.
Okay.
And this is the thing. And the kit was going around basically around $1,200.
Wow.
They have one without the kit, which just sits right around $800. So what happens, Marcus, is this device returns back home. And when it returns home to its charging station, it automatically has a sensor, and it will automatically empty the onboard compartment into the bin, which can later be dumped. Now, it's auto-emptying, but you still have to empty this into your trash later on. So, I think it's nice, Marcus, but I'll be honest, I think it's a gimmick.
Yeah, it really does seem more like a gimmick rather than something that is really supposed to uh, make life more convenient, make life more lighter. So I just don't see where I'm benefiting that if I'm still
I
having
mean,
to.
would you spend an extra 200? Let me ask you, would you spend an extra $200? Um, would you spend an extra $200 for a vacuum that auto empties itself like a Roomba?
Yeah, yeah. If it's going to empty itself, then it's going to be worth it. Then.
It empties itself, but now you still have to empty that bin later on.
Well,
See the point?
yeah.
So yeah, it's worth it, right? But now you still got to go empty that bin. So you just delayed. Maybe you could go a couple cleanings and then you have to dump that.
Mm,
See what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
It's why we need you, John, to really put the logic into our buying.
I think sometimes the people that put these things together, the marketing people, they create this urge in people's mind. We call it the impulse buy, right?
Right.
And then you get this thing home and it's like, huh? This is all it does? That's what they meant by that feature? Oh, I want to return it. Oh, wait, I can't. It's 15 days. It was only 14-day return policy, and I can't return it. So things like that. But something else that's been interesting to me. We talk about Facebook from time to time, and we do give them some flack. But I honestly believe, Marcus, they're not out for your best interest or my best interest, or definitely our viewers. They're a money crunching machine, and again, there's nothing wrong about them making money. I have a problem with the way they lie to people. That's my problem. And they're trying to do it again. They're working on turning the new VR into this new mass market technology, which they had, and this Oculus came out in 2014 for a $3 billion industry. And they're basically getting ready to do this again. Facebook launches it's called the new Oculus 2, which is a lighter, cheaper VR headset. So again, they're trying to just get people on board, and I think if the price tag is lower, it's going to get a lot more people that want to buy it. It's called the Quest 2. It's lighter, it's cheaper. They say it's better performing. I have not gotten my hands on one of these yet. The Quest 2 is supposed to be similar in profile. It's 10% lighter than the original. Is that really worth? Is that really? I mean, and they say it's more portable and it's going to be more comfortable and easier to wear. Comfortable and easier to wear by who? I mean, how do they make that statement?
Yeah, that seems very subjective.
I see the VR headset future. I mean, we got a long way down the road, 10, 20 years. I mean, I see some challenges in VR because when we get into VR, it's going to cause a whole socio impasse in people because as it is, they're detached now, right? Sometimes with technology, imagine putting a pair of glasses on and now you're so detached that you don't even want to come to the dinner table.
Mm.
So I see some slight ramifications for that. A little more than just parents wanting to regulate how much time they're on the internet. You heard the philosophy one time that, when you do something in your mind, it happens in life. We actually create things twice. Once in our mind, and then we create them in life. But it has to first happen in our mind. So if you're playing a virtual reality game, well, I think your mind's going to be pretty involved in that game, don't you?
Yeah, that definitely.
And if those games are sending messages that maybe you wouldn't like or I wouldn't like or would not be conducive, let's say, to the well-being of society, wouldn't you agree that that's probably going to change the programming of that person to maybe become more like that? Maybe make them more violent, etc.?
Yeah, I definitely agree. There were some studies done on that before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, they're even doing some studies with prisoners with VR, head with the VR glasses.
Okay.
Maybe I should fact check myself. Before someone does it for me. But there definitely is a prison study done with that, and I'll let you go.
What did they learn, Marcus? What did they learn?
What they learned from these studies is that they can alter some of the behaviors of the prisoners by giving them certain scenes in the VR head glasses to calm them down, make them more I guess quote unquote civilized, and to help them with also civilization once they come back from prison.
Very, very interesting. And we know that if we do that to children or teenagers, we know their minds is going to your mind is going to be like clay.
Yes, yes. I can just imagine what it would do.
So so I think we just got to be careful about that. Just like there's actually groups out. If people know this, but there's actually groups out there that rate
Okay.
websites.
Yeah, so I found the just for fact checking purposes.
Oh, good.
So this is done by the University of Maryland, actually.
Oh, wow.
So the Colorado in 2012, the Colorado Department of Corrections was faced with a dilemma when the U.S. Supreme Court made retroactive its decision prohibiting mandatory life without parole sentences for juveniles. So what they end up doing was, they allowed the juvenile lifers to actually be able to wear the VR glasses using a different software to be able to re-enter back into the probation program.
Oh, wow.
So they gave them different life lessons in the VR glasses to learn how to like how to do laundry, how to self.
Oh, so it did teach them some positive things.
Yeah, teach them positive things, give them positive images and different things.
So I think it's just like you put food in your body, you put stuff in your brain, so you become what you think about. We are what we eat, so we are what we envision, and we are what we do. We are what people we hang around. We become that, right? Energy is very how can I say it? It's very it's attractive, but it's spreadable and it's definitely contagious.
Definitely.
So another thing, speaking about contagious, the perfect segue.
Yeah, good. I've seen that one coming.
I didn't even plan that. That just kind of that just naturally happened. There's something called the fifth vital sign. Have you ever heard of that before?
Yeah, I was reading on this. So our blood oxygen levels. Yeah. So this is very interesting, because like there's a lot of people who, especially with the COVID-19 cases, this can be very beneficial. So tell us more about this.
Sure. So our blood oxygen levels, it's a lesser known metric that many health professionals have yet to be analyzing, but that's slowly changing. So
Right.
blood oxygen levels, as I said, they're starting to come under the radar by some health practitioners, and they're setting a new mark or metric, if you will, to monitor COVID cases. So the blood oxygen, or what they call formally SpO2, okay, it has a formal thing. It's capital S, lowercase p, uppercase O, and then 2. They've been used long before COVID had even been around. And it was an important indicator to help people understand heart, lung, and overall health. My question is, why did we stop paying attention to it? Like, why did this suddenly become an issue now? So this health metric is often called the fifth vital sign, and it's the one that's oftentimes missed or analyzed. And what it does, Marcus, is it helps people monitor basically whether they have respiratory conditions, COVID-19, of course, included. And unlike the body's heart rate, where you can tell if it gets too high or maybe it doesn't seem right, it's not quite the same or easy to diagnose how someone will have low blood oxygen levels. They actually have a word for it. It's called hypoxemia.
Yeah.
Say that 100 times fast. And actually, so that word hypoxemia, several factors are basically needed, and I quote this from the Mayo Clinic. We know the Mayo Clinic. To continuously supply the cells and tissues in your body with oxygen, there must be enough oxygen in the air you're breathing. Your lungs must be able to inhale the oxygen-containing air and exhale carbon dioxide. Your bloodstream must be able to circulate blood to your lungs, take up the oxygen, and carry it throughout the body. So a problem, and I quote still from them, with any of these factors, high altitude, asthma, heart disease, may result in, guess what? Hypoxemia, especially under the conditions such as extreme exercise, illness, and whenever your blood oxygen falls below a certain level, you may experience a shortness of breath. Maybe become dizzy, get a headache, or confused, or become restless. Interesting, the Mayo Clinic always seems to be on board. But another thing interesting I want to point out, there was an article published by a known scholar not too long ago, and it was actually retracted. So that's very interesting. It was retracted, saying that they didn't have proof to be able to conclude that this theory was true. So I don't know, everybody's always trying to put a wrench in something, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They don't want to, nobody wants to see what's going on. And guess what? I am sure we are going to see devices like, you guessed it, the Apple Watch Series 6, and guess what it can now do?
It can install it.
It can now monitor the blood oxygen, or the SpO2.
Yeah. We should have knew it was coming.
So this is where it's going, and I think the Internet of Things is good, where it can actually help you understand, your body's different health levels. I think that's a great thing, but I don't think, so literally you have a watch and it shows your blood O2 level. I mean, I think that is kind of amazing, but my question is, how accurate is it? And I think that's something that we probably have to learn. They're saying, yes, it is a factor, but how much of a factor is it? We don't know that 100%. So I think it's important to know that it's something we should be concerned about, but how concerned should we be? There's really no benchmark on it.
I think that's a real good point you make right there because I think a lot of times people are when they see results like that they start getting very afraid like, well, what should I do now? Should I go to the doctor? Am I dying? So we got to be very careful with these particular type of uh, health related type of
I think anytime, Marcus, we get any new information, whether it's for health, whether it's for security, I think we always have to, I guess, be a little a little, I'm not saying deceptive, but be a little bit resistant because, maybe we don't know it for ourselves. I know when I do things, I have to see something or feel something to really believe it. I don't just take an article. And speaking about articles, Facebook, their AR Ray-Bans are completely stylish.
mm.
They're the hottest thing,
Uh-huh.
but they may not be the greatest thing. You knew that was coming. Of course, anything Facebook's behind, I always have to ask. I'm sure they're making money on it somewhere. And these new AR glasses, they're using this project called Project Aria, and it's an experimental platform that's going to lead to a pair of AR glasses that will stream data to your face.
Oh, wow.
So this is a partnership with a sunglass manufacturer, Ray-Ban, to use this new fancy type of glasses. I actually have a pair of Ray-Bans myself, but I don't think I want AR functionality. Definitely not Facebook technology built into them. And it's clear that the AR glasses will eventually reach mass markets, even by the next decade. So we're talking about 10 years, roughly.
Yeah.
So, or so. And they call it the array bands. So no pun intended. Array, A-R, capital, A-Y, dash bands. So the world's really not sure why we need them. And this may be something that's way too mature, Marcus. I don't think our world is ready for virtual instruction or this type of world that is, we have something called augmented reality and we have something called virtual reality.
Right.
So virtual reality is when we take a computer and we synthesize something. Augmented reality is when we take our known environment and we put synthesized images in it or alter or change it. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's been the new descriptions because there was a confusion. So let's, for example, we had your kitchen. That would be virtual reality. Now, if we take augmented reality, I could now put characters into that kitchen or change the way that kitchen is. So that would be an example of that. But I think this Project Aria that they're working on, it's a research project, and they're going to add this new type of information. So while you're wearing your glasses, you're basically going to be able to get a projection of something right in front of your eyes. I'm not sure if I like that.
No, I'm not. Because then again, it concerns me that anything that's intrude on my daily activities that
Your privacy, right?
yeah. So who knows if it's recording what I'm doing, where I'm going. So it's definitely one of those very.
The partnership has claimed that the biggest challenge for them has been basically finding a way to use all these existing sensors to make the AR work properly. Because remember, it's got to be on this pair of glasses, which is pretty small. Right. And they got to fit them on that pair of glasses in the appropriate place that they're going to get the best benefit without intruding to the person wearing them. So
yes,
that's their biggest challenge. And they're not even sure, Marcus, whether they could build products that they're going to use a collection of sensors for multiple tasks in a very power-efficient manner. They don't even know if they can do it. So it's like they're building a map. The best way I can explain this to people is think about playing video games. And now think about yourself in the game. Okay? And imagine being in the game and now you getting shot. Well, not for real, but you're getting shot in the game. Now you have sensors on your body, and suddenly you're feeling these actual sensations as if it actually hits you.
Yeah.
There was a company a while back, I don't think they're still in business. They were making movie theaters, what they called more than 3D theaters. They were trying to make like effects. They went out of business. They were going to do like scents and vibrations and things like that so that you could have more of an experience. I know one place that did this, and I wasn't crazy about it. It was in, I believe it was in Disney World, and it was actually one of their kingdoms, and it was called Animal Kingdom. And I remember the first time I went into It's a Bug's Life, and I sat down on this theater. You never know what Disney's going to do. And I sat down there, and you're seeing this bug, and you're watching. You're becoming very ingrained with the bug. And all of a sudden, you know, the bug sprays you with water and then this horrible scent right in front of these two little sprayers. And then, you know, the bug's about to leave, and you feel the bug coming out under the chair while you're sitting there.
Oh, wow.
So what they wanted to do, Marcus, but again, I don't think it really went anywhere, they wanted to be able to make the theater more than 3D, more of like a reality, like maybe a movement, not just the sound, but the smell. They wanted to touch as many senses as they could.
Yeah, they wanted to literally put you in the movie, so that's what it kind of sounds like.
Yeah, but I feel that that's just not the. I don't know. I think we got to be careful with the way we do that. I mean, we're seeing that with a lot of different places now. They're trying to have these IoT devices. I know there's one I'm actually reviewing in a few weeks. I won't let the cat out of the bag yet, but it's not really an IoT device. It's a type of device that I'll call it IoT, but it really isn't really phrased that because it's actually a device. And it's really not marketed as an IoT because it connects to the computer. I mean, I think of an IoT device as something a lot smaller, where this is something maybe as big as my hand. So it's a lot bigger. So I see more and more connection, Marcus, for devices needing to capture data and share this. I mean, just the other day, I was looking at this little mini robot. And yes, Amazon sells it for just a couple $100. And he can actually see your home when you're not there using night vision.
Yep.
And he can link into your security system. But now I have a problem with this. This data is being sent up to the wonderful World Wide Web or the cloud. And now your home is being sent up to that cloud. What would happen, Marcus, if someone was able to hack into that cloud infrastructure?
You know, before you know it, we got the wrong people with information.
Yeah, and we now have this, let's call it the dark web again. We have, just like they sell credit cards and pet things on the dollar, imagine them selling your information about your home, what it looks like, its map, everything about it, and selling it to people. And now they find somebody in wherever you're located. Well, gee, we're going to go ahead and sell that to somebody. And I don't know. I think that's going to send the wrong message. So I think, like I said to you once before, Marcus, we got to be really careful as we start to get more technology. We have to start understanding how this technology is going to affect our privacy, for one thing.
Yeah, you hitting the nail right on the head once again, John, and you are really helping a lot of people out today and really giving us some deep thought to really chew on. So speaking of like just helping people out and there's a lot of predatory things to keep an eye on. Google Stock, Stockware, I believe. So
yes,
yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. I know, and maybe because I know we're getting closing in on time here, but maybe and then yeah.
Well, a couple more stories, but basically to tell you, so Google Stockware policy requires a notification on monitoring apps, but they had a typo in their policy that says it allowed the use of monitoring apps to track adults without their consent. Yeah, we laugh, but I'm sure that might have caused them a big class action lawsuit if they didn't quick resolve that before that became a major problem.
Be corrected right away. So something to laugh at, but no laughing matter is the bug in Joe Biden's app.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not taking a political stance one way or another here. We try not to express any political views, and of course the views here. But any person running, whether it's independent, Republican, Democrat, I don't care. If you have an app and you're asking people to use that, I mean the general public, and now that app is giving millions of people access to voter files, well, I don't know about you, but that's probably going to make me think a little poorly of that candidate and maybe their campaign.
Yeah. If they don't, if you're a candidate and you're trying to avoid anything, bad said about you, this is probably like one of the worst things that can happen to you. We're talking about, millions of people here who's trusting you, and now that trust seems a little sketchy.
Exactly, but the thing is this, the only reason it hasn't gotten as much play as it probably should have is it didn't cause damage yet.
Yeah.
Notice I said the word yet. I'm hoping Joe's people and his company that he's hired has fixed the issue or taken it offline. I don't know. But we haven't heard any more news about it. But I think that's the biggest issue is that, I think what should have happened is a letter should have came out from them. I don't think they did anything. They didn't respond to the public and say, hey, we had an issue. They notified, but there was no apology.
No. That's really something to think about there, and again, this is, someone's running for president, and this is not to sway anybody in one way.
No. We're not trying to take anybody for or against the person, but anybody that has a problem with their app.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think might have caused this specifically? Was this, a hacker, attempt, or was this just,
to be honest with you, the app itself had a bug in it. And I know because we've developed apps for years, when you get people that don't have the experience level, and sometimes this happens, Marcus, it's not nice to say when you pay a little bit, well, I'll say a lot less money. They don't necessarily know the ramifications. Maybe it was somebody's kid from college, or maybe it was somebody from high school and said, oh, gee, yeah, we'll write an app or something. And they don't understand the exposure that they put a company, a campaign, a person, because they haven't done the proper thing. And I think that's what we have to be aware of. But just we only have time for a couple more stories here. We had a lot of good content to bring you, and that's always the problem, Marcus, is trying to fit it into our short little time frame. So artificial intelligence, which you probably known before, they're now trying to put artificial intelligence, because it is a very expensive technology, and very few can afford it in the cloud. So now companies are now trying to come out making AI affordable as a service. And they're going to start charging you for the amount of AI you use. The pricing and the model is still up for grabs yet, but they're going to now make AI available, kind of like, the supercomputers many years ago. Yeah. They would let people rent the amount of time you needed on that supercomputer.
Yeah.
So they're going to do the same thing, just like NASA and they do with the satellites. And this is also going to lead more to the RPA, Robotic Process Automation. This is another big buzzword acronym. And what we're going to see as robots, and we'll talk more about robots in other shows, but robots are becoming autonomous, and they're being able to learn things that they didn't yet know about just by being in their environment and by making mistakes. So that is definitely a thing. And just the last two things I want to point out in stories, because we've had a lot to cover. We had a lot of juicy stuff tonight.
Yeah, we
did. That TikTok, you can relax, ladies and gentlemen. If you have millions of followers on TikTok, well, you can sleep tonight because the company is not getting sold. President Trump announced not too long ago that if it was not sold to a U.S. company, that it would be required to shut down. So you can definitely rest about that, but we still have to be careful about what Oracle's going to do just to handle that. But another thing that I thought was really interesting is one of the biggest IPOs, Marcus, in the time is coming out. One of the biggest in history. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is going to send people, and it's actually about a data storage provider being able to conduct the largest ever software IPO, and they're being able to seeing stocks right now that we're ending just around $254, valuing the company at $70 billion. And it priced the initial offering at $120, and it already jumped to $254. That was a Wednesday this week. Okay, so this IPO is going to be pretty interesting. It's going to have deep tech. They're going to create tremendous markets and shareholder value. That's what they're going to try to do. But the other interesting thing about it is that the Warren Buffett-backed company was founded in Silicon Valley in 2012 by 2 Oracle veterans. So very interesting what's going to happen with this. It's a red-hot IPO, and it's going to send a lot of people surging at what's going on, and more companies, software companies, are going to come to the front. And the thing about it is that it's very rare for Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway by profiting by more than $800 million from a stake in a cloud data startup called Snowflake. I mean, that is pretty rare. That's so wild. Snowflake was not an ordinary IPO. The company Wednesday, made their mark, being the biggest software IPO in history, and having the largest offering in 2020 so far, right? So, but a lot of people say, and financial analysts say, it doesn't really mean anything because it's just numbers, right? A lot of times companies can have a value, but are they really worth that value? Are they worth it? And you may ask, what does this company do? Well, that's a great question. They enable organizations to be data-driven. They create customer experiences with your data. They reduce costs for per second pricing, and they make better, quicker business decisions. So what are they? They're a data crunching engine. If anything, they're somebody that's going to be after that private data that we're talking about. So again, there is no formal rule or law about anything like this. To protect this, there's nothing on the books or in the courts for how privacy needs to be handled. There's stuff for HIPAA and Sarbanes-Oxley, but there is really nothing for the American people to protect data from company to company other than those 2 that I mentioned. Of course, everybody tries to be compliant and stuff like that, but I just feel that I'm not sure where they're going right now because they have a very big hype. And their biggest thing is that customers are reducing their query times from hours to second, and that they're going to push cloud data in warehouses to business users very quickly and very efficiently. My question is going to be, what's the demand going to be, Marcus? Is this really something that small businesses need, or is this just something that a handful of people are going to need? And what I mean by that is, if somebody was selling a helicopter, and the helicopter was $1 million a piece, okay, and this company wanted to make $10 million, well, they just have to send 10 helicopters. But if that price tag was a lot less, like $100,000, they're going to have to sell a lot more helicopters. So is there really a market for this, or is this a fake? I don't want to use the word fake. Is this a, let's say, a deceivement or a misrepresentation of the facts? Because we've been fooled in the past before. Yes. And just because a company makes money, that doesn't necessarily mean, Marcus, that it's going to be a great company.
Right.
They could fall just as quickly as they rose. I think it's an interesting company, but I do feel that it's one that we probably have to watch because I'm always concerned about what they're doing. And we've talked about this before. If a company makes a very big mistake, those stock prices could go to zero very quickly.
Very
So
quickly.
I like to know what they're doing with their data and how they're handling it. Not so much the algorithms, but like what's going on. You notice they didn't share any of that data. Nothing. They just say that they're going to be able to crunch numbers faster, but I got to believe there's a cost to that. A cost not in just price, Marcus. I mean a cost in privacy.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. And sometimes these companies come and then they're gone.
And they go. They come and they go.
Yeah.
And it's just about the people that decide to make the investment because they look good. I mean, when they do these prospectuses, they look good on paper. A lot of these .coms, they look good on paper and online, but they're really not as good as they say they are.
Right. Yeah, well, thank you so much for that. And I guess the final thing, maybe just to breeze us through really quickly,
Sure.
the with the NFL coming back now, there's some, they had to definitely tighten up on some different protocols. Maybe walk us through that a bit.
Yeah, yeah. So
going on in the NFL.
this was kind of a little strange for me that they were doing this. Man, I knew they were doing some stuff, but um, you first heard about what they did. I think it was in Disney a while back when the NBA was doing some stuff. But now the NFL is getting strict with their rules. I mean, they want to open soon. We all know that,
Right.
and they just have basically different things that they're trying to do. And with these COVID cases, they're announcing the monitoring, the testing results. That they just got a lot more in play. And I
Right.
feel that, this is going to be it's going to be a moving target, and I don't think they have a total plan for what's going to go on, but I think they're just going to kind of monitor things. And right now, they're saying that it's still under negotiation to, what are they going to do? Because the biggest issue they have, Marcus, is the players' union. That's their biggest problem right now.
Right.
And the NFL training camps, as we know, they're starting very, very close.
Right.
So let's just presume for a moment, Marcus, that the season teams travel to different cities to play games. There's going to be a lot of new regulations in place for the players and the team personnel on the road. Because remember, they have mandates. Do they have to quarantine? Does that mean we have to wait 2 weeks before they can have a game in that area? The league is going to mandate that the team buses cannot be, listen to this, more than 50% full. So there must be at least one open seat between passengers on team planes as well.
Hmm.
Everyone will get his or her own hotel room on the road, and the players and team personnel must wear face mask coverings while on the road. So teams and players are going to be told that they're not going to be allowed to leave their hotel rooms to eat, otherwise use any restaurants that are open to the public. So they're going to have like closed restaurants just for them, the players.
Yeah.
They're going to be allowed to use room service and only contactless food delivery services. They might not be able to use public or private transportation or in other cities, even when they're not playing. So while at the hotel, players and team personnel may not be visited in their rooms by anyone who's not in the traveling party. That's pretty strict.
Yeah, it's very
And no
strict.
one in the traveling party may use shared hotel facilities such as a pool, wow, a gym, unless they've been disinfected and are being used only by the traveling party specifically. So I see, Marcus, that this is going to cost a lot more money for the teams. But if the money is going to be, delegated to the teams, I feel it's going to come back to the people that are going to be the fans, right?
Right. Definitely. So you can expect for a lot of players who are going to be breaking some of the rules here. There, so that kind of happened early on, inside of the NBA bubble. So you're gonna, and then of course, the fans are going to get hit hard with
The
this.
price tag on the tickets, we already know they're looking for excuses to raise tickets. But I can tell you this: they're probably going to charge more money because they're not going to be able to get as much capacity in the stadium.
Exactly.
And if they're doing this for the players, I can't imagine what they're going to be doing for the visitors.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably going to be going through some procedures. They're obviously going to be checking things. They're going to have temperature systems, monitoring stuff. They're going to have constant cleaning at the bathrooms. The food is going to have to become so controlled, right? I see this being a disaster.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's going to be worth it. You know, I don't know if it's going to be worth it or as enjoyable as it's been in previous seasons. You know, but we have seen, you know, the NFL taking some dips, you know, in recent years. So, you know, and this is, you know, it's going to take another hit, you know, as the NBA did, you know, this season.
Well, Marcus, we had a lot of topics to cover, and we did it. It seems like we always seem to go a little bit longer, but we provide great content. You know, we're really giving our viewers a lot of good information, and we're working really hard. As you know, Marcus, we have some amazing guests coming up next month. So we're going to start to have some good guests, very interactive people, some well-known people. So I think, you know, our show is definitely growing, and I want to thank our viewers because, you know, we're here for you. And, you know, we'll be doing things like taking live calls. I told you when we hit 10,000 viewers, we're not too far from that. We'll take live calls on the air. We're also here to take your chats. If you have something you want to tell us, or if you would like to be a guest on the JMOR Tech Talk Show, you can reach out to us. You can message us. You can go to JMOR.com, and you can go to our contact form. Let us know you'd like to be a guest. Tell us who you are, what you'd like to talk about. We typically interview people that are thought leaders in their industry that have made a contribution to technology. So if you just bought a computer and you're using it really well, we're probably not going to interview you. But if you got your computer and maybe you hook that up to manage your weather system and you're communicating that to your local town or interface to Nix or something like that, well, then we may want to talk to you. So again, it's about tech. But I don't want you to just think about tech meaning that it has to deal with actually wires and cables. It can be wireless, and it also can be something that has to do with the mindset of tech. We actually have a psychologist, a doctor coming on next month. And so there's some real interesting things that we're going to have. But I don't know where our time goes, Marcus. Again, if you do want to be a guest, let us know. If you have a product that you'd like us to unbox, let us know that too. And, you know, we do unboxing, we do reviews. And the JMOR Tech Talk Show is every single Friday night at 5:30 p.m. And I hope that we will see you real soon. If you know somebody that missed our show, they can always go and watch it later, or pretty soon, starting next week, they'll be able to subscribe and get all this amazing, great content streamed right to their phone or to their computer 24 hours a day, 365 days. All the time.
Yeah, indeed. Looking forward to all the great, amazing guests and maybe even surprises that's along the way too. So, you know, hopefully we get some surprises along the way. I
always love surprises.
Yeah. So thank you, John, and thank you, guests, audience out there.
We will see you next week. Thank you, Marcus. We'll see you next week, everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the JMOR Weekly Technology Show, where we answer your questions about how technology is supposed to, and sometimes why you have challenges getting it to work that way. For more IT support and tips, just text IT support to 888-111. That's IT support to 888-111, and you'll get tips on technology. I'll see you next week, right here on the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Remember, JMOR.com.